Faye crouched behind a pile of rubble, her heart pounding in her small chest. The city, once a place filled with laughter and joy, had become a desolate wasteland, overrun by Jigin, machines designed for destruction. At just 10 years old, she was alone, navigating a world that had turned against her. Her short black hair fell messily around her face, and her silver eyes shone with fear and determination. The jacket she wore was tattered and covered in dirt, barely offering any warmth or protection. Beneath it, her ripped shirt and shorts were a testament to her struggle. She clutched a dull knife in one hand and a small pistol in the other, the weight of them a reminder of her fragile existence. She had seen other selfish groups of survivors who would do anything to secure their own safety, often at the expense of others. Trust was a luxury she could not afford. The streets were eerily quiet, save for the distant sounds of metal grinding and the occasional echo of Jigin patrols. Faye knew she had to move quickly to find food, but the danger was ever present. She took a deep breath, her tiny body trembling as she glanced around the corner of the debris. Her heart sank as she spotted a Jigin gliding silently down the street, its red eyes scanning for any signs of life. Every day was a battle against her own weaknesses, her small stature, her inexperience with the pistol, and the overwhelming odds stacked against her. But she had learned to be clever, to find ways to outsmart the machines. She waited until the Jigin passed, then slipped out from her hiding spot, her heart racing as she made her way toward an abandoned convenience store. Inside, the shelves were mostly empty. She rummaged through the debris, hoping to find anything that could sustain her. A can of beans caught her eye, and she quickly stuffed it into her jacket pocket. Just as she turned to leave, a loud crash echoed from the entrance, and she froze. Faye turned to see a group of survivors storming into the store, their eyes wild with desperation. They were older, rough-looking individuals who seemed more interested in hoarding supplies than helping anyone else. Panic surged through her as she ducked behind a shelf, clutching her knife tightly. "Get everything. We need to stock up," one of them shouted, shoving another aside. They were so focused on their mission that they didn't notice her presence, but she knew it was only a matter of time before they discovered her. She could hear them arguing, voices rising. "What about the little ones? We can't just leave them out there," another voice protested, but it was drowned out by the greed that filled the room. Faye's heart sank. She had witnessed too many times how selfishness could lead to betrayal. She couldn't trust them, but she also knew she couldn't stay hidden forever. The Jigin could be nearby, and she couldn't afford to be caught in the open. Taking a deep breath, she glanced around for a way out. The back door was partially ajar, and she could see a faint light beyond it. With her heart racing, she made a decision. She had to escape before the chaos turned against her. As she crept toward the door, one of the survivors suddenly turned, spotting her. "Hey, there's a kid," he shouted, pointing. The others immediately turned their attention to her, eyes narrowing with suspicion. "Get her," another voice shouted, but Faye was already darting through the door, her small frame slipping into the alley beyond. She didn't look back, adrenaline pumping through her veins. She could hear them shouting behind her, but she had to keep moving. Faye ran through the narrow alleyways, the sounds of the survivors fading into the distance. She leaned against a wall, breathless and terrified. Her silver eyes shimmered with unshed tears, but she quickly wiped them away. She couldn't afford to cry. She had to be strong. The city was a labyrinth of danger, and she had to navigate it carefully. The Jigin were still out there, and she had to stay alert. As she moved deeper into the maze of buildings, she spotted a small park that had been overrun by weeds and rubble. It had once been a place of joy, filled with laughter and play, but now it was just another reminder of what she had lost. In the middle of the park, she noticed a small group of children huddled together, their faces dirty and scared. They looked just as lost as she felt. For a moment, hope flickered in her chest. Maybe they could help each other, but she quickly pushed the thought away. She had learned that people only looked out for themselves. But then she saw it, a small girl, no older than 4, with wide, fearful eyes. She was clutching a ragged doll, her only comfort in a world filled with chaos. Something inside Faye shifted. Maybe she could help just this once. With cautious steps, she approached the group, her knife at the ready, but lowered. "Are you okay?" she asked, her voice barely above a whisper. The children looked up, surprise etched on their faces. "Who are you?" one boy asked, suspicion in his voice. "I'm Faye," she replied, her voice steadier than she felt. I can help you find food, but we need to stick together. The Jigin are out there, and so are the others. The children exchanged glances, uncertainty clouding their expressions. But the little girl clutched her doll tighter, as if sensing Faye's sincerity. "We don't want to be alone anymore," she said softly. In that moment, Faye realized that perhaps she didn't have to face the world alone either. They were all struggling to survive, all fighting against the odds. Together, they could be stronger.